إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. You remember the deal I gave you last time at the pizza place?
Yeah.
What was the deal I gave you?
Off the wall.
What was it? Go ahead. Nah.
Oh, the deal.
The deal. First the deal. Yes.
The more we're silent, the more we cooperate.
The shorter it is. Are they going home after this, Ahmad?
They're not going home, and you got a whole hour. And if they misbehave in that hour,
We'll extend it.
then no, we don't extend it. Then the idea of IHOP gets like taken out of
There's IHOP tonight?
We're gonna eat. I'm done hopping.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, now it's my time. Jazakumullah khair and Jazakallah khair Ahmed for that talk. Actually, that was the introduction I was going to give. Like you said, who remembers the last talk I gave you when we were at the pizza shop? Now that, yes. We talked about many things. What was going on? Remember any detail? Yes.
About Umar al-Khattab, like and about like how much proud he was about being Muslim. That was like the one day, and that's about how much proud he should be.
Exactly.
That should give that for
You gave it?
Yeah.
You did it? Everything you did in one day? Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Just that Islam is summing it up. That Islam is the biggest blessing that we have.
Exactly. That Islam is our biggest blessing. What else? Anyone else remember? That was basically, yes.
Should I just say what he did in one day?
No, but basically was his first day into Islam. We mentioned what you said, what the brother said, what Umar did one day into Islam. And as you know, he was a young man. So let me continue from there, because you're young, inshallah, and you're Muslim. You wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't dearly love Islam. So we're going to continue about matters that pertain to you. You remember I mentioned the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said you're going to be asked about 4 things. 2 of those things are what? Your life, and then your youth, the age. Why did I say you're going to be? Isn't your youth part of your life?
Yeah.
So why are you going to be asked about it again?
For the Shaykh.
What is that? Because those are essential years. Because if you waste a lot of time, you're held accountable. Yes?
Between age 1 to 40,
Your youth, yes. It's up to 40. After 40, it's a decline. Okay, yes.
he said that it shapes your futures.
That shapes your future, your youth years. Okay, let's take it from there. Let's take it from there. And like you said, you give me an hour, I'm not going to go an hour. But give me some of your time and focus with me. So next time, inshallah, I'll ask you, you'll answer it. And inshallah, Allah will bless your lives with what you heard today. Like he said, when you sit here in this gathering, as you're sitting here, you know who is mentioning you by name? Who? Allah. Right now, every single one of you, Allah is telling the angels, Muhammad, Abdullah, Hassan, and every single one of you is mentioned. That's an honor. Allah mentions you by name. Know that He's going to forgive you and higher your rank and bless you throughout your life. So this is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you heard today. What I want to talk about is how important your life is. You're a Muslim, you got to hold a duty to your life. And I told you about this last time. When Muslims, anyone know about Spain? Back in the day, Spain was ruled by Muslims, right? For a long time. Muslims were so strong there in every single way. People from all over the globe used to go there to learn anything, not just Islam. Just like everyone comes to the United States to learn over here technology and science and medicine, people used to go to the Muslims in Spain and learn from there. In fact, there's this French lady who wrote a book. You know, when you graduate, when I graduated, or you graduate, you're going to wear the cap and gown, right? Do you know the origin of the cap and gown? Let me tell you the origin. You probably don't know it. Back in the days, when they used to graduate, you know, what's the gown? It's a thobe. Isn't it a thobe? Do Americans wear thobe in America? In Europe they wear thobe? Who wears a thobe? Muslim. Let me tell you the origin of it. Back in the days, a French woman, I read in her book, she became Muslim, She said when the non-Muslims used to go to our country and learn in Spain, in respect to the Muslim, because they got their science degree, their whatever it is, in respect, when they graduate, they wear like the Muslims in respect to them, and then they leave and go back to their country. That's the origin of the cap in the gown. My point of it, Muslims were very strong there. And you know who made them that strong, as strong as they were? People your age. People your age. And you know how? When the non-Muslims wanted to invade and take them down, they sent a spy one time. They said, we want to take Spain. Muslims are so strong here. We want to take them down. So a spy walks in, he finds a Muslim. They're in a gathering like this. The two Muslims are arguing. One of them is saying the hadith is in Sahih Bukhari, the other saying, no, it's in Sahih Muslim. And another one is arguing about fiqh matter, Islamic situation. So he said, no, these guys are in good shape. If they're arguing about, if they're talking Islam, these are strong. He walked out, he said, there's no way you can defeat these people. They're into their religion. Islam is what makes us what we are. Islam is what forms your life, personally and as a nation. Years and years later, they sent another spy in. They said, check up on these people. See if we can go in and invade them and take them over. So he went in. Guess what they were doing, the young guys now? They were rapping, messing around, playing around. They were arguing. But you know what they were arguing for is not over a hadith in Bukhari. It was over a girl. And then he found a few of them who were drunk. Then he looked at the masajid. He's seeing spider webs on the doors of the masajid. And then he looked at the clubs. The clubs are all lit up and everyone's in there. So he said, now is the time to take them. And that's when the Muslim got ousted out of there in humiliation. So who's the one who determines the victory of the Ummah? Your age. Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he destroyed the statues, how old do you think he was? 12. Some scholars say 12. Some scholars say 13. Some scholars say 14. There's no way he could have been over 17. You know why? Allah in the Quran says, سَمِعْنَا فَتًا يَذْكُرُهُمْ يُقَالُ لَهُ إِبْرَاهِيم. We heard fatan. In the Arabic word fatan could not be a man. So he's a teenager. He's a youth. So Ibrahim alayhi salam as a youth was what brought Tawheed, monotheism, back to this earth. A young boy. The story you all know of. Does anyone there not know it? When he walked in and he destroyed the statues, then he hung the sword in the biggest statue, and you know, every one of you knows it. A young boy does it. Because a Muslim takes the task upon himself, like I told you last time, that I'm a Muslim. The people of the cave. Does anyone here not know the story of the people of the cave? You know it? And who does not know it? You do not know it. Everyone here knows it. I don't have to repeat it. The story, Allah mentioned a chapter in the Quran about it. Guess how old they were? 14. Your ages. Your ages. They revived. These guys didn't do something small. These guys brought Islam, monotheism, back on the face of this earth. And in respect to them, Allah the Almighty changed the sun for them. You know when they were in the cave? They needed the sun, not too much, but not too little. So Allah changed the sun. The sun that goes from one direction to other never changes. For these young boys, Allah changed it. So the youth are essential. You can't say, oh, I'm a kid when you're a Muslim. And from what I know from last time, when some of you introduced themselves to me, you're one of them, and a lot of you are memorizing the Quran. A lot of you are almost hafiz. A lot of you are almost going to finish the Quran. And if you're not going to finish the Quran, you better start on it. Because this is the age. I was born and raised in this country. I was born and raised in Dearborn. My father took me to Medina when I was 11 years old. I finished the Quran in Medina when I was 11. Back in the day when I was growing up here, there was no masajid, there was no people to teach Quran like we have today. There was barely any Muslims around. So we had to travel. My father took us to Medina. Now you have Quran schools that are teaching you. So if you're not in that and you're not aggressive in it, then you have to get in. What I wanted to talk to you today, I could mention to you many Sahaba. I could mention to you many Tabi'een. You could say Sahaba, you know what happened? Sahaba, well, if I look up to them, who did they meet? Who did the Sahaba meet? The Prophet, you could say, you know what? They seen the angel Jibril sometimes. They seen the miracles of Allah. They seen the Prophet split the moon. They seen every kind of miracle you can think of. They seen it. So why talk about the Sahaba? We can never be like them. I'm going to bring you someone who's not a Sahabi, but a Tabi'i. Tabi'i. What's the definition of a Sahabi? Yes.
Someone who saw the Prophet.
If someone who's seen the Prophet one time, this is the definition of a Sahabi. He's seen the Prophet one time and he died a believer, this is a Sahabi. And guess where the Sahabi ends? Where does he end up? In Jannah, yes.
So technically Abu Talib is not Sahabi.
Abu Talib is not a Sahabi. Why?
Because he's not Catholic.
He was not a believer. On his deathbed, he refused. And that's why he gets the special place of, he's going to be in hell. Like the Prophet said in authentic hadith. But he's going to get the shallow, the least of it. You know what the least of it is? 2 times. This is authentic hadith. In the Sahih and in the Sunnah. He gets the 2 times because Abu Talib defended Islam so much. If he did not when he did, there would be no Islam today. However, when the Prophet went to him on his deathbed, he said, say that word. La ilaha illallah. He said, no, I die on the religion of my fathers and forefathers. So because he gave Islam so much, the Prophet said, in hellfire, he's going to get 2 tiny little stones in the bottom of his feet, will cause his brains to fry. He will think he's the worst punished in hellfire, but he is actually the least punished. There's no one going to be less than him.
And that's it, then he goes to Jannah?
No, he doesn't go to Jannah. Abu Talib never goes to Jannah. It's unfortunate, but Abu Talib never goes to Jannah. Because, as a rule, you have to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Okay, the topic I wanted to tell, the man I wanted to talk to you, is a tabi'i. A tabi'i is someone who sees a Sahabi, but doesn't see the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now you know what a Sahabi is. Now you know what a tabi'i is. A tabi'i is one Sahabi, but doesn't see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In one of them, before I tell you about this man, I'm going to tell you about Mu'adh bin Jabal. Mu'adh bin Jabal was a young man. He was in his early 20s. The Prophet ﷺ took him one time by his hand and walked him to the outskirts of Medina. And the Prophet ﷺ, after telling him, Wallahi, I love you, Mu'adh. And then he taught him a prayer. I don't know if many of you know it. I think you know it. Allahumma inni ala dhikrika. You know it? Okay, yeah, I remember you said it after Salah last time. Allahumma inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika. Look how beautiful the Prophet ﷺ is with the companions. He took him by his hand. He told him, Mu'adh, I love you. Look how he wants to teach him, how the Prophet was with young men. He said, but after prayer, say this dua. And that's why you say that dua. The Prophet taught it to Mu'adh. Allahumma inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadati. One time the Prophet ﷺ wanted to send him to Yemen. You go to Yemen and teach people. That's what we expect of you. What I tell you of this, every single part of the world where the Prophet ﷺ sent people to spread Islam, they were all youth. In Yemen, the Prophet was in the Arabian Peninsula, the center. When he sent someone to Yemen, who was it? Mu'adh bin Jabal, a young man. A young man. At most account, he's in his early 20s. When he sent to Abyssinia, to Al-Habasha, who did he send as the leader among the group? His cousin, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, a young man who established Islam. In Medina, who did he send to Medina? Who did he send to Medina? You guys have to know him, the first ambassador of the Prophet ﷺ. Any book of yes? No, not Zayd. Mus'ab ibn Umayr. So all these, he sent out to teach Islam. How old were they? None of them was beyond his mid-20s. And that's worse exaggeration. Some of them were younger than that. So he sends Mu'adh. He says, Mu'adh, come on, walk him out because he's leaving to Yemen. Yemen is approximately a month-and-a-half journey. So he's on his way. The Prophet walks into the outskirts of Medina. And the Prophet looks at Mu'adh and he looks back at him. And the Mu'adh sees that the Prophet wants to tell him something, but he's not telling him something. So Mu'adh sort of asks, what is it you want to tell me, Prophet of Allah? So the Prophet ﷺ says, Mu'adh, maybe you come back next to me and you won't find me alive. He was given a hint to the Mu'adh that I might be dead next time you come back to Medina. This was 1 year before the Prophet ﷺ died. So Mu'adh began to weep and cry. And the Prophet tried to calm him down, But the Prophet ﷺ wanted to make sure he gives a farewell hug and goodbye to this young man who he's not going to see again. And in reality, what he told him happened. So Mu'adh goes to Yemen, begins to teach Islam. You know, every Yemeni you see, Mu'adh in his grave today gets his reward. Because he's the one who taught people Islam. Him and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Mu'adh goes there, one of the young man who's there, young teenager, a little bit more than you. His name is, and this is what I want to get to, Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii. Not a lot of people know him. But this was a man Allah blessed with miracles. The only one who's seen miracles like this man is Ibrahim. Hundreds of years ago, approximately 3,000 years ago, was the only one who's seen a miracle like this man. Abu Muslim al-Khawlani never seen the Prophet ﷺ. He was a student of Mu'adh ibn Jabal. He learned Islam, and this time, the Prophet ﷺ was dying. And some people took advantage of the situation. You know what they did? What do you think they did?
Revolted.
What did you say?
Revolted.
Revolt. Exactly. To the north of Medina, there was a little town called Al-Yamama. A man there called, does anyone know his name? Musaylama al-Kadhab. Musaylama, who used to make Quran up and say, he one time, actually before the Prophet ﷺ died, he said, look, you're a prophet, I'm a prophet, let's split this between us 50-50. he was a liar, and he used to make up Quran and tell the men around him, this is the Quran I made up today. He said, look, we know you're a liar and we know everything, we don't like the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and that's why we're with you, so you're not fool enough. This is his own man, Muslim this. Musaylama, they took advantage. They thought the Prophet was weak. Everyone started popping up saying he's a messenger. So Musaylama in Al-Yamama, he became strong. And what happened there is it was big war. Abu Bakr had to do with us after the Prophet ﷺ. That's why the Quran became a book. That's how Abu Bakr gathered it. You know, bones and leaves and all that it was written on. Because what happened in those battles? The memorizers of the Quran, approximately, some scholars say 70, some say 300, some say 700 of those who memorized the Quran died in those battles. So it was a blood over there. But that's not my point. This was in north of Medina. In other area in Yemen, where Abu Muslim al-Khawlani is, there was a man called Al-Aswad al-Ansi. He did the same thing. And this is my point. Focus with me so you won't get distracted and get lost in the end of the story. Al-Aswad al-Ansi said, I'm a prophet of Allah. And he began to grow. Yemen, Hadramaut, he ran. He reached right where the Prophet ﷺ was, right by Mecca, an area called the Taif. His followers began to grow strong. You know why? First of all, he was from a strong tribe. He was a good talker. When he talks, he's a good talker. And third of all, he'll do weird things. And you know, when you do weird things, you attract people. He would come out in a mask sometimes. And back then, that was a big thing. And the fourth thing he would do is send out spies into the towns in Yemen. And he would say, okay, these two, they got in an argument in a city far away from where he's at. But he had spies. So spy would tell him, this guy and this guy got in an argument. So when they come to him, he say, you know what? The revelation came to me that those two guys got it. Fight. So people say, wow, there's no way he could have known that except by revelation. And the word got out that this man is a prophet. He got strong. Guess who stood up to him? Abu Muslim. Over there's a bloodshed. 700 of the memorizers of the Quran get killed. Here, one man, one youth stands up to Abu Muslim al-Khawlani. So this man goes for it and he's a prophet, and he's a prophet of Allah. Abu Muslim al-Khawlani goes behind him, correcting people. And this young man alone, no weapon, no army, no support, all by himself, goes alone, telling people, this guy's wrong. This guy says this, the Prophet ﷺ said this. and people begin to follow the young man. Yeah, at the beginning they go behind him, but when they teach a man, Abu Muslim teaches them, they follow. That's your duty as a Muslim. They follow him. So what does a tyrant do when he loses in a debate?
He kills the guy.
He kills, what does he do? He kills them, he imprisons them, he does exactly. When he can't fight the argument with the argument, he does harm to them. That's what they tried to do with the Prophet ﷺ. Allah said in the Quran, وَإِذْ يَمْكُرُ بِكَ الَّذِينَ بِكْتَرُوا لِيُثْبِتُوكَ. They try to sway you, try to give you money, try to give you power, and win you to their side. لِيُثْبِتُوكَ أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ. Kill you. They tried 7 assassinations attempt on your Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. لِيُثْبِتُوكَ أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ أَوْ يُخْرِجُوكَ. Or they try to oust you. So this is the path of Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii. Yeah, Abu Muslim was firm. They bring him before they gather huge crowd. And they did a fire just like the Ibrahim alayhi salam's fire. You know that big blazing fire? They started a huge fire and he was there. And then they tell him, we're going to throw you in this fire. We're going to put you in this fire unless you recant what you said about this, our leader here. And his words is, I bear witness that a knife only cuts by the will of who? Allah. I bear witness, if you try to drown me, the water won't drown me unless it's Allah. By the will of Allah. You can't harm me except by the will of Allah. They said, we're going to throw you in that fire. You know what he said? What did he say? You can fire. What did Ibrahim say when they were going to throw him in the fire? What is it? Huh? It won't burn, but he said, you can't just say the fire won't burn me. You gotta say, but there's something you gotta say. Dua. What's the dua he said? Allah hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is sufficient for us, and Allah is the best of disposer of all affairs. Allah is sufficient. Allah is going to take care of me. And whatever the outcome comes, is going to happen. You see that fire? He told Al-Aswad, you and your whole army over there, and I'm by myself, that fire is going to save me from the life after. People, during the Prophet ﷺ's time, they told them, we're going to come with reinforcement after the battle of Uhud. They said, we're coming in a reinforcement to take you down. What did the Sahaba say? Allah says in the Quran, you know the verse. What is it? فَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلِ. So Allah says after that, what's the result? فَانْقَلَبُوا بِنِعْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَفَضْلٍ لَمْ. They turned away unharmed. In Sahih Bukhari, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh said, when they told Ibrahim, you're going in the fire, he said, what did he say? When they told the companions after Uhud, we're coming to reinforcement to annihilate you, what did they say? Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. What did Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii say? Do you know what happened when they threw him in the fire? He walked out of it, and you know what he did? Do you think he ran away? When they found him like Ibrahim alayhi salam. The only thing that this was no Sahabi. This is the miracle of it. This was like me and you. He never seen the Sahaba. He never seen the Prophet ﷺ. So the only thing that burned was the shackles that they had on his hands and legs. You know what do you think he'd do? If it was me, I'd sprint and run away. You know what he did? He walked to us, Aswad al-Ansi, he said, what else you got for me? I'm daring him. This is a man who's dead. What else you got for me? You know what happened? The advisors of Al-Aswad al-Ansi said, get rid of this kid real quick. The people are starting to believe in him. If you don't get rid of him real quick and this happens again, you lose power. That's why Al-Aswad al-Ansi said, had it not been for that kid, I would have ruled the globe. A kid. He said, had it been not for that kid, I would have ruled the globe. So he tells the kid, get out. Kick him out. So he says, that's good. You want to kick me out? I did what was under my power. I did the da'wah I could. I didn't harm no one. I didn't hurt no one. I convict. That's what your duty is in school. When you're in school, when you're with your friends, when you're with your relatives, a lot of you, I can tell, are smart. Wallahi al-azim, I can say by your eyes, that you're very smart. On the internet, you could be a reviver on the internet. Open a Facebook and do da'wah through Facebook, through your Twitter, through all these media. Instead of using it for that which is prohibited, use it to be another Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii, to make the Prophet ﷺ proud. So they kick him out. Where do you think he's going now? Medina. He said, oh, good. They want me out? I'll go see the Prophet ﷺ. But what's the problem now? Where's the Prophet ﷺ? He's sick now. So he rushes, hoping to catch him alive. When he gets to Medina, he grabs the first man. He says, where's the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? The first one walks away. What's going on? The second one, where's the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? The second one walks away. The third one walks away. The fourth one says, you don't know our Prophet is dead, and he breaks down crying. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that's when, imagine this suspense. He's walking for a month and a half, rushing. Says, now is the opportunity. I've wanted all my life to see the Prophet. And he knows that the Prophet. So he breaks down crying. Now he can't get the category of a Sahabi. So he breaks down crying. And he begins to scream at the Sahaba. He says, you guys think you're going to beat us? You, the category, we're going to do more than you guys ever did to be in a category higher than you. Daring young man. This is a man taught under the hands of Mu'adib. This is a man who fully understood Islam. So he breaks down crying. Umar ibn al-Khattab, after, I don't want to go repeat it. Inshallah, one other time if I'm invited. Ahmad, inshallah, is going to invite me more time. I'll tell you about the death of the Prophet ﷺ. Umar, after he comes down, he goes to this man. He says, you're from Yemen? He said, yes, I just got here from Yemen. He said, how's that young boy over there who stood up to that tyrant over there, that liar? He said, he's fine. This is him talking. But when you're a pious man, you don't say, hey, yo, that was me, I did that. No, this is a pious man. He doesn't want to, he says, he's good, alhamdulillah. Umar looks at him. Umar always did this. Anytime foreigners came into Medina, he's always, where are you from? What's your name? What do you do? Tell me about it. Always did that. So he said, look, he said, by Allah, that's not you. He said, yeah, that's me. Umar takes him in and hugs him and kisses him. He says, alhamdulillah, that Allah showed me from this ummah, from this nation, a man who got the miracle of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He began to kiss him, and then Umar takes him back. Umar, the big giant, remember what I told you? For him to take a guy and kiss him and hug him and walk him and parade him throughout the Medina, that's a big honor. No one gets that honor. Umar is a rough guy. He pushed his friends. He pushed his friends out of the sun. One time, a man came telling him something. He didn't like a little bit. He pushed him. It was Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. He pushed him on his chest and laid him flat on his buttocks. The hadith says, he laid him flat on his buttocks, and Abu Hurairah goes to the Prophet ﷺ and says, O Prophet of Allah, I was telling him something, and he crying to the Prophet ﷺ. But now he's parading this man throughout the streets. He's parading this man throughout the streets of Medina. And he gets to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Guess what happens? Abu Bakr begins to cry. Why does Abu Bakr cry?
He's happy.
He's happy, but why? He's somewhat happy, but somewhat sad. That's it. That's exactly right. How did you know that?
Because the only reason I'm holding Christ is something to eat it.
Wallahi, that was perfect. Wallahi, that's the thinking of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. You hit it precise. This is a story, it's mentioned in the history book. The reason is Abu Bakr was like one body. Abu Bakr, when they were in Hijrah, when they're coming back from it, hold on a second. Hold on, I'm going to answer all your questions. Hold on. When he was coming back from Mecca, when he migrated with the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina, they got near Medina, they were in the desert, very, very thirsty. Very thirsty. They went to the house of a woman called Ma'bad. She had a sick sheep. And the Prophet ﷺ recited, and by the blessings of the Prophet ﷺ, they milked the sheep. And the Prophet ﷺ says, drink, Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr says, no, Prophet of Allah, you drink. Look at the hadith. The hadith says, Abu Bakr, and the Prophet ﷺ, they're thirsty. The desert there. I've traveled in the deserts. They're in a car, and you get real thirsty. So our Prophet is drinking, and Abu Bakr is thirsty. And look at the hadith. He's drinking. Abu Bakr said, I got full. Abu Bakr said, it's not Abu Bakr who's drinking, it's the Prophet. Abu Bakr said, why did he get full?
because the blessings. It's because seeing that the Prophet was happy is all I have.
When you love someone so much and they get nourished and their thirst is quenched and you really, really love him, it's like, oh, I'm done. I love him so much, he's me. He is me. That's how Abu Bakr. So what the brother right here said, what's your name? Tamar. He said that the reason that Abu Bakr was crying is because Abu Bakr loved the Prophet so much. He wished that this man had met the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what about this thing, about this matter over here? This is not where it ends. Allah blesses you. When you're with Allah, Allah blesses you in this life. You know this man, Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii, never ever in his life raised his hands to Allah and asked for something except that he was Allah. Never did he put his hands down in a dua except Allah gives him what he wants. But he wasn't only like that. He was a worshipper. And you gotta be like that too. Worshipper, stay away from sins. When you fall in a sin, you repent to Allah. We're all sinners. That's why we're human beings. We're not angels. But you jump back quickly to the right track. Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii was so firm in his faith. You know what one time he said? He said, if I were to see heaven and hell, it wouldn't add any faith to me. Meaning, I live my life like heaven is here and hell is here. My iman is so strong, I see heaven here and hell over here. Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii, the books if you read, they say if you were to tell him, tomorrow you're going to die, there's no worship he can add to his schedule. If you tell me, tomorrow you're going to die, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get up all night and repent and pray because I'm going to meet Allah. I'm going to do sabah. This man, he couldn't add nothing to his schedule. Why? It's already full. It's already full schedule. This man, when they used to tell him, chill out, relax, you're doing too much ibadah, enjoy your youth. You know what he tell him? He tell him, I'm like a horse in my last moments before the race. What does a horse do in his last moments before his race? When you're in a track team, you're in your last few yards, what do? You sprint, you take off. He said, I'm in my last moments, I got to sprint in worship. You know when he said that?
In his 20s.
You know how long he lived? He lived about 80 years old. This man said it 50 years before he died. He sprinted 50 years before he died. This was a man who, when he raised his hands to, let me tell you the story about him. One time, he had a wife he loved a lot. And they had this little code between him and his wife. He got married as he got older. He had this code. When he comes into the house, he'd say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Instead of knocking on the door, he's like, I love you. Instead of saying, I love you, honey. He'd say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And she'd say, Allahu Akbar one time. When they leave and when they come in. So one time he was coming, he said, Allahu Akbar at the door 3 times. She didn't respond. Why do you think she didn't respond? She was mad. She's mad at him. First time they get in an argument. So he raised his hand. He says, Allahumma a'mi man khabbaba zawjati alayh. Oh Allah, blinden the eye of whoever made fitna. You know, those people cause problems. They like to instigate. You guys know a lot about this. You know, they see 2 good people, 2 happy couples, 2 happy friends. They go in the middle. He said, she said. He said, oh Allah, whoever did that between me and my wife, blinden their eyes. Guess whose eyes is blinded? No, not his. His next. Why would that? That's his wife. His next door neighbor, an old woman. You know what that old woman did? This man lived approximately 60 years after the Prophet ﷺ's hijrah, meaning about 50 years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. So he lived a long life. He lived to see Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. Muawiyah was rich, was a Khalifa, was rich. And he would generously give a lot of people. And he used to generously try to give Abu Muslim, out of respect to him, a lot of money. But you think Abu Muslim accepts? Abu Muslim don't accept. So this neighbor told this woman, your husband is friends with Muawiyah. Tell him, make things better for you. Look at the house you live in. Look at the lifestyle you live in. So the wife said, that's true. Why are we living like this and we can get some money from Muawiyah? So she got mad. Why isn't he taking money? So what happened is, he made dua, she got blind. She came to him, she knew he made the dua. She said, I beg of you, make dua, and I will never do anything like this again. He said, you promise not to do anything like this again? She said, yeah. He raised his hand. He said, Allahumma in kanat sadiqa fa'ad alayha basaraha. Oh Allah, if she's truthful, return her eyesight back. On the spot, she gets her eyesight back. Anytime he raised his hands, one time, his wife sent him with 1 gold coin to buy some flour so she can make bread. He went out, and this beggar comes to him. He says, can I have some money? He takes the only coin that he has and he gives it to him. Now his wife, you know how some women are, they give you a headache when you go back home. So what he did was get a bag full of sand and put sand in it and go back. So this is exactly what Abu Bakr used to do when he used to take all the money and free the slaves. And his father would come and check. His father was blind. He'd check up, where's our money? He'd see rocks. He'd think those rocks were gold coins in there, but it wasn't really gold coins. So he put a bag of sand and brought it back home and put it there. He wakes up the next morning, and his wife is making bread. He said, where did you get the flour from? He's thinking of a plan. The next day I'll figure out some plan, and I'll go get some flour. She's cooking. She said, this is from the flour you brought yesterday. Who could do that? Allah. When he was sincere with Allah, Allah did that with him. When one time they were traveling, they get to a water. This is not hearsay. And I am not a guy, people know me, I don't mention weak hadith. This is stuff you're going to find in Ibn al-Jawzi and Ibn Asakir and Sir A'lam al-Nubala. I'm very tough on weak hadith, so I don't mention. One time they were traveling, they get to the water. They got across the water. What do you think he does? He makes dua. He says, oh Allah, we're here for your sake, and let us cross this. They cross on the water safely. But on their way there on the journey, some of the people who are traveling with him, they drop some of their belongings. He says, keep going, don't worry about it. He gets to the other side. He says, oh Allah, some of these servants of yours lost some of their belongings, so return it. They said, wallahi, it came flowing in the water right to us. When one time an army went to fight the Roman, the Muslims, they had no internet, they had no cell phones, they had nothing. So they got worried. What happened to the army? And they stayed days and days, they didn't know. So he said, oh Allah, bring us the news of what happened to our brothers. You know what happens? Wallah, you did, you know what? Wallah, you amazed me, mashallah. A bird came to him. We don't know what kind of bird. Could be an owl. A bird came to him and told him the news. You're amazing, mashallah. You got a good future. All of you have a good future, but this one right here has, inshallah, a future. I couldn't have guessed that myself. A bird came to him and brought him the news. This was Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii. He died, so you know the history of this man, 62 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the point of this, my brothers, I'm going to conclude. I'm going to give you guys a lot of time up. The point of this, brothers, is you have a duty, an obligation. You don't say, I'm a young boy, I'm going to kick back and relax, I'm going to waste my time. You know, some brothers say they sit home and watch the wall, and some spend hours on the internet, and some spend their time in sinful ways. Alhamdulillah, we're Muslims, and you gotta, Allah says in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَى إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ. There's no one better than one who calls for Islam. You say, I'm a sinner, and I say I'm a sinner. If we all back away from being true Muslims who spread Islam, who's going to stand up to the task? Nobody's going to stand up. So you have to be a man for the mission. You have to be a man. I'm a Muslim. I'm the one who's going to be in the forefront. Anyone have any questions? Abed?
How would we do this in school? How would we do it in school?
What part of your school? What setting? First of all, da'wah, let me tell you something. Da'wah doesn't mean to come here and talk. That's the least effective means of da'wah, I think. The most effective means of da'wah is how you are. Akhlaqa. When people see you and you're righteous and you're good, and also you worship. You have a friend, you ask Allah, Allah guide him on my hands. That's between you and Allah. When you're like that, Allah is going to open avenues for you. So you're in that. Your friend, if your friend in school is not asking you, why are you like this? Why you don't lie? Why do you use curse words? Why you're straight? Why you do this? Why at this time you go to the side and you make your salah? Why? If he's not asking you these kind of questions, then you're doing something wrong. So you open the door by how you act yourself. And also, there's other means. You say, hey, look at this website. Come here and check out this website. All of you have emails. All of you have text. You find something interesting. You send it to your friend. You use technology. If a Muslim al-Khawlanii had technology, you better bet he's going to be using that kind of stuff. You know what? And when we were younger and we wanted to do da'wah, we didn't have all these means. You know, if I was younger, I look at it when I was in high school. If I was in high school, I'd have maybe 100 Facebook accounts for da'wah. One to spread hadith. And you know, I'm going to tell you this story. I was teaching on the internet a class for a young boy, and he was overseas. And this boy happened to die in a car accident. He was 19 years old. He died in a car accident. His account on Twitter is still available today. And I imagine it all the time. All he has on there, he's not out there flirting with girls. And he's not out there trying to pick up girls. He's not out there passing out, stuff that's prohibited to listen to or to look at or to watch. All of it was hadith, ayah, maybe a humorous thing. You don't have to be firm with a snot eye. Islam is fun. Islam is happy. You could present things in a way to make people happy. That's all it was. Now I want you to think about, he's dead in his grave, and what's happening to everyone who looks at his account. He's in his grave, and Allah's raising him right. Just like whoever put this in this masjid. Whoever put this in this masjid, he probably died. Looks like it's all tore up. You know, this community, I remember this community right here when I was a kid. When I was your age, I came to this masjid here many times.
This one?
Yes, this
Yeah,
one.
this is very important.
I forgot what it was, but I came to this masjid. So whoever brought this is probably dead, rahmatullah alayhi. Maybe he's alive. If he's dead, everyone who reads in this, what happens? He gets reward. He gets reward. So let's say internet lasted till the judgment day or till right before the judgment day. And I have my account and it's had a lot of hadith, a lot of ayah. What happened? All the way till the judgment day, could be thousands of years, hundreds of years, whatever. I'm getting ajr. That's why, who's the best man after all the messengers? Who? No. Consensus, Abu Bakr. It's a hadith. No one after the messengers of Allah is better than Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq is, hold on. Abu Bakr is the best man. What did the Prophet ﷺ say about him one time? لَوُّزِنَ إِيمَانِ الْأُمَّةِ, the whole ummah, from the time of the Prophet, after the Prophet, until the judgment day, you bring the iman of the whole ummah on one side, and the iman of Abu Bakr on one side. Whose iman goes up? Abu Bakr shoots it all the way out. He throws you out like flies. It goes up. His is going to weigh more. Why? Let me tell you one of the reasons why. Does anyone know why? Yes.
His life all in his
His life was all in his hand. He's the one who every time the Prophet ﷺ says something, people say, he couldn't have said that. What's his name? Sadaqta. Sadaq, you spoke the truth. However, let me tell you one important thing about it. Hold on. What? Oh, you want to answer that? Yeah. Go ahead.
He used to spend all his money on the poor.
That's part of the answer. Very good. You put me on the right track. Yes.
I just keep one.
Okay, let me tell you. Yes.
Like, whenever they were in like dangerous situations and there was finally a supply, he wouldn't let those people let him drink to just like the goat thing. He let the goat that milk thing.
He did a lot of things. We can sit here for days and weeks talking about Abu Bakr and we wouldn't be done talking about him. But let me tell you why. Abu Bakr was among the early believers. And guess what Abu Bakr used to do? I used to tell you. Who freed Bilal? Who went and bought him? For 5 gold coins. Okay, when he brought him, Now that he's a free man, every deed Bilal gets, who gets it? Abu Bakr used to bring everyone, hey, come here. You guys want to learn about Islam? Come, here's the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. One after the other, one after the other. Let me tell you, you know the story about the 10 who were given, the Prophet ﷺ said you're going to go to heaven? 10, 10 mubashirin bil Jannah. You know that? 6 of them, guess who took Shahada with? One of them who spread Islam from Medina to Iraq to Persia, he became Muslim under the hands of Abu Bakr. The other one who took Islam from Medina to Damascus, he took Shahada under the hands of the Prophet ﷺ. 6 of the most special people took Shahada. That's not to mention the others, many others. Who gets all that ajr? Do you see why he's the best man after the Prophets of Allah? And the same applies to you. So if I get, again, to embrace Islam, his deeds, I sit home, I'm probably sleeping. He's making salah. Who gets the ajr of his salah? He doesn't, I do. Let's say he gets kids after that. Who gets the ajr? He does, and his sons get it, and I do. All the way until the judgment. And from the mercy of Allah, let's say some one of his descendants go off on the wrong track. Do I get the sins? Because Allah is merciful. Yes.
Because doesn't he also get like that time of Bilal, anyone that came to pray when Bilal did that time, Bilal was some on Abu Bakr's hand. So he called for Adhan.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
About that. Well, Bilal, he didn't like give the idea. It was Umar, Khattab, and then some other guy, I forgot his name.
What did he do?
Like he got his manam, and it showed that.
Oh, that's early on, the Sahaba.
Yeah.
Some of them suggested that he used bells.
Yeah. And then,
some of them they used other means, but the Prophet ﷺ, they seen many seen dreams that they called.
Yeah. So what are the people that said that seen the dreams give the hasanat that?
Yes, of course. That's how merciful Islam is. Allah wants to give a lot of reward. Yes.
So everybody who makes adhan, then the person who told the Prophet about adhan, he gets the ajr?
Everyone who comes after that gets the ajr. Yes. Because they suggested it. And they get the reward of everyone who comes after that. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does a good deed, anyone who does a good deed, any kind of good deed, and people follow that good deed, okay, today I talked about Abu Muslim al-Khawlanii. No one here ever better forget about it, because next time, you guys better answer all my questions, inshallah. Next time when Ahmad invites me. But you guys aren't going to just take it. You guys are going to go and tell your friends. You're going to tell your family. Everyone who you tell it to, guess who gets the reward? You do, and I do. And that's the only reason I would come here in this late time of night. Otherwise, you would never see me. There's nothing going to bring me out for it.
No, there is.
It's more than our the whole Allah. It's going to be the end of the year. He has all the ajr that we all have.
Who? Abu Bakr does?
Because by the end of the time, half the people who are making the trial weeks.
Most. Probably more, yes.
Their ajr is more than
Some way the ajr is connected to it. Yeah, that's true. The Prophet gives certainly the ajr of every single believer from the judgment day to every last one of them. Of course, that's true. Yes. Go ahead.
That's why I
that one time we was gonna make dua to us, and I actually said Samad. And then from Allah's mercy, He gave him what he asked for. And then the Malaika asked Allah, why did He give this person? He said Samad when he was trying to say Salam.
He mispronounced it one time, so Allah gave him the mercy. Yes. That's true. Yes.
I have a question now. Well, because like we're saying, someone said no, sort of thing. And as student asked that he said that he heard people say that an imam gets more reward than the people who follow the imam.
The imam does? Why?
I mean, I don't know.
If he's a righteous imam, if he's a righteous, good imam, if I'm the imam here, that's true. Why? If some imam, you get a good imam here, who's a good man, and he's leading here, you lead here, yes, you get more reward than everyone else, because you have the reward of everyone behind you. And that's why I said, you who memorize the Quran, you're going to get the reward. You're going to read in Taraweeh. Who led the Salah today at night? What? You did? How much you memorized? How much you memorized?
I don't really know a lot.
You better get on track then. If you led, then inshallah you're going to have
A lot of people.
a lot of people wrote it. He's a Hafiz? MashaAllah. How old are you, Hamza? 13? MashaAllah. That's a blessing. That's a big blessing, wallahi. To memorize the Quran in this country at that age. What you guys, you know, you're bright. Wallahi, I can tell. You know, I've given lectures, hundreds, maybe thousands of lectures. And I can look at the people and scan while I'm talking. Wallahi, I can tell by looking, you know, you're bright people. What's stopping you from memorizing the Quran? You spend 8-10 hours a day on the internet, right?
No.
Come on, the truth. How much you spend on texting? How much you spend on texting? If you were, I know everyone here. Everyone here. Listen up. The Quran is 600 pages. 600 pages. If you memorize 1 page a day, and the you memorize 1 page a day, 2 years, and let's say you memorize 2 pages a day. Addition. I know people with me memorize, wallahi, at one time, 6 pages. I know people with me memorize, wallahi, I said, wallahi, al-azim, do that, 6 pages a day. Wallahi. We don't want you to do 6 pages a day. We want you to have fun. We don't want you to be guys who don't have fun. But memorize, if you memorize a half a page a day, how much is it going to take? What? Memorize 4 years. By the time you're out of high school, you have the Quran memorized. And where do you go? Where does it land? You have the Quran. No, not only Jannah. We're all going to go to Jannah, inshallah, inshallah. But where does it land you in Jannah? Listen up, I'm not done. Where does it land you in Jannah? Yes. Why? Why? Because Allah tells the one who recites to memorize. Iqra wartaqi. You're on an elevator. You're on an elevator. You go up, 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 up. You're on an elevator. فإن منزلة عند آخر آية تقرأ. So if you only know قل هو الله, قل أعوذ برب الناس, قل أعوذ برب الفلق, you're not going to really go that far. You're going to stop right at the first level and maybe just get right inside the door. You want first level and maybe life after Jannah is not like here. You lose and you win. Like 50, 60, 70, 80 years, it's the lose and you win. Jannah's not like that. Jannah's in 70, 80 years. So if you get in the first level of heaven, Jannah's not like that. It's infinite forever and ever and ever. So you're aiming to go, the Prophet ﷺ said, when you aim to, so you're aiming to go, the Prophet ﷺ said, when you aim to, Firdaus. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. But you want the more beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. But you want inside there, no. It's done deal. When you're in there, you get the level, you get your palace, and that's where you stay. You get the level, palaces. You get your palace, and that's where you stay. Yes. Yes, you can visit. Yes. Yes, Jannah is whatever you want. Whatever you want in Jannah. You visit the one, the scholar said, the one in the lower level, the one gets to it, the scholar said, go up. Let's say you're in the 7th, and I'm in the 3rd. You don't come down to see me, I go up to see you. I'm honored of you, I go up to see you, come back down to my place. But also, there's no envy, there's no jealousy. Like I see your palace is better than mine, Jannah doesn't have that. Before, in the front yard of heaven, the front yard of Jannah, Allah says in the Quran, وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِم مِّنْ غِلٍّ. Anything, any ill ailments, you know, jealousy, hatred, animosity, anything, all that's gone. You can go in the 7th heaven in Firdaus, and I could be in the right in the front, right by the gate, right inside the gate. We don't have no hatred, no bickering, no beefing, no nothing like that. Inside the gate, yes. We don't have no hatred, no bickering, no beefing, no nothing like that. Yeah. Yes, but that's that's, let's say, okay, you and you are both equal in deeds. Okay, you guys do same salah, same ibadah, same worship. But you work out, he doesn't work out. Who's better? But you work out, he doesn't work out. So let's say two are equal in deeds. The one who's stronger physically is the one who's better. But there's no one who can be better than the other. So Abu Bakr's reward is ajr there. You can work out 24/7, you can do everything, but the Prophet already told us there's no one better than Abu Bakr for what he did in support of Islam. Yes. For what he did in support of Islam. Yes.
So, if someone either is like a father himself, but they are on the same level of very good person,
you could, that's one of the means. Allah blessed us with a lot of people. You could be a man who prays at night, who's always dhikr. Maybe you always say, Astaghfirullah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Maybe you've done it so much, whereas the guy who memorizes the Quran didn't recite, whereas much as you did dhikr, and you get higher than him. But usually, the people of the Quran are always reciting. You can't, because you know the Quran, I don't care how good you are in Quran. You leave it for a little bit, what happens? It's gone. The Prophet ﷺ said, it takes off faster than a gone. The Prophet ﷺ said, one of the biggest nightmares in the desert, when they used to go in the desert, is you go, let's say you get off your camel, you want to go use the bathroom or eat or drink, guess what happens? What do you do? You sit down and wait your death. You don't go look for it, because there's nothing to look for. You sit down and you wait to be found there's bones, maybe 10 years or 5 years. That's how it was back in the day. Because a camel, you know about him? He likes to take off. That's why they tell them, you know the Arabic? That's what he's wearing right there. You know what that is? You know the Arabic? No. This was, let me tell you the origin of this. The camel has a knee. Was to bend the knee of the camel and take that and put it on the knee of the camel. That way the camel doesn't take off. So the Bedouins, when they wouldn't put it on the knee of the camel, where they put it? On their head. So it became our tradition to wear it. That's the origin of it. The point of it became our tradition. The point of it, no, it became, now it's a tradition. Now it's Arabic tradition. What became of it is that the Prophet ﷺ said a camel takes off real fast. So why did you take it off? It looked good on you. Real fast.
Because he wants to.
So why did you take it off? So the Prophet compared it. Okay, let me get the point. Hold on. The Prophet ﷺ compared it to the one who doesn't always recite the Quran. It leaves his heart just like that camel leaves that fast. It leaves his heart just like any more questions that fast when you're in the desert. Jazakumullah khair. You are a great group. I always love to see you. Jazakumullah khair. Allah